Good evening. It's Peter Johnson here, the editor of Tiger Link, the Hull City fans group. You'll remember that I had a chat with you earlier in the week about the fantastic quarter-final of the League Cup, the EFL Cup, between Hull City and Newcastle United at the KCOM Stadium. Well, as you'll remember, we had a chat and we both thought that it would be a pretty close game. In fact, we both thought extra time. I thought we'd win 2-1 in extra time, and you thought Newcastle would. And so we were both pretty close. And, well, it went all the way to penalties, and a fantastic performance by our goalkeeper, Eldin Jakupovic, who almost overnight, if he wasn't already, has become a cult figure in the city of Hull and the king of the penalty shootout. A really good performance by him, saving the penalties. Although I think Rafa Benitez and Newcastle fans will feel that Newcastle certainly weren't at their best at taking the penalties. And Hull City's penalty takers, Robert Snodgrass, Michael Dawson in particular, took their penalties very well. Tom Huddleston looked a little bit nervous, took a good penalty. And there we are. For the first time in our history, we have reached the semi-finals of this competition. It's had a number of names over the years. It's currently the EFL Cup. I think it's been the Carling Cup and the Rumbelows Cup, and I remember it as the League Cup. But certainly it's the first time that Hull City, in their long and distinguished history, have reached the semi-final. Just a little bit about the game. I mean, for the first hour or so, Newcastle dominated and Hull City were very ordinary. But that's been the way they've played their games this season. They've tried to go out and win the battle to start with and then gradually ease their way into games, trying to keep a clean sheet at the first time. But I think a big turning point in the game was the sending off of Diamersi and McCarney. And I think Newcastle fans will feel that they should really have beaten 10 men. And to score, we all know that Mo Diame came back, was playing against his old club, and he did the cliched thing and scored against Hull City. And Newcastle were 1-0 up, and we thought, surely Hull City can't fight back now. But as is the old cliche, as I was about to say, you are at your most vulnerable having just scored a goal. And seconds later, there was Robert Snodgrass, following up a shot from Henriksen to get the equaliser. And I wouldn't say that Hull City held on easily through extra time and took it to penalties, but I think Newcastle faded out of the game a little bit. And it'll be a big disappointment to them, because I think that in many quarters they were favourites for this match and saw a really good chance of getting through, certainly to a semi-final and maybe to a final. So it leaves Hull City with the exciting prospects of a semi-final, which looks like being against Manchester United, Liverpool or Southampton, although we have to see the final results tonight. And it's a two-legged affair, and there'll be a huge amount of interest in Hull around these games, even though we still have our off-the-pitch mayhem because of the irresponsible behaviour and the mischief of the Alam family, our current owners. But just signing off and saying a big thank you to those of you up in Newcastle for taking this broadcast. The best of luck to you for the rest of the season. I think we as Hull City fans probably feel you're good enough to go up to the Premier League. I just hope we're there to see you next season. So here's hoping we're going to have a really good performance for the rest of the competition. And nice talking to you all. And a great performance last night by Hull City against a pretty strong Newcastle side.